Today we're flying on China Southern from Heathrow to Beijing Daxing. We'll be on board their A350 in economy, and it's a pleasantly surprising experience.
We're at Terminal 4, we're airside. Check-in took 25-30 minutes, but the good news is our suitcases will be checked through all the way to Seoul.
Yes, we'll be overnighting in Beijing before continuing to Seoul. At check-in we had to fill in a customs declaration form and articulate that we'd be applying for a transit visa on arrival into Beijing. We can do this given our connecting flight is onto a third country.
So we couldn't check in online for this flight. Not sure whether that's a China Southern thing or whether it's a UK passport thing on a Chinese airline. If you do know, let me know in the comments, because we had to check in at the airport at the desks. Boarding today, gate 23, which means up this corridor here in T4.
It's a long walk actually, but we did get our first glimpse of our aircraft. The irony isn't lost on me that the Korean Air next door is heading exactly where we want to go to. Don't worry though, I've got a Korean A330 on the channel soon. We arrived at the gate around an hour before our scheduled pushback time, and to my surprise, we were some of the last to get on board. So heads up, get there early. The A350 really is a good looking aircraft.
Okay, through the boarding gate, let's go get on board.
On board you'll find 307 economy seats in a 333 layout. We've selected row 47 in the middle cabin. We chose seats as we booked, and I'm glad that we did. The website was almost impossible to get back into to manage the booking post-sale. The front cabin with the yellow seats has a hefty reservation fee around £55, and then anything that's labelled with the sky blue colour was free, hence we sat as far forward as we could. The seat has an adjustable headrest with bendy ears for support, and everyone gets a branded pillow. Legroom here is 31 inches, and the seat pocket has dividers to help you organise your things. The legs of the seat mean the foot space is free between the middle and aisle seats. The overhead lockers are huge, so no problems in storing your bags up there. We had a 10-minute or so cargo delay, and yep, this A350 has outboard cameras. Actually, 3 cameras. Forward, down, and tail. Nice. A big surprise when I sat down was the inclusion of an amenity kit waiting for us at the seat.
And that's what we have inside. Eye mask, we have a comb, a toothbrush. I want to say this is toothpaste, but it says cooling on it. And we have some earplugs.
The safety video played next, and there's a quirk of Chinese Airlines. At the end is a message from what's effectively the aircraft bouncer. This is the guy wearing a camera, not dressed as crew but as a security guard, and watches everyone as you get on board, before regularly walking around the cabin to check out what's going on, every 30 minutes or so for the whole flight. He also takes a seat in economy. It took a good half hour to get from Terminal 4 over to the northern runway for takeoff. So in that time, let's take a look at the in-flight mapping tool that you'll find on this high-resolution screen. Our route takes us over Siberia and is planned at over 5,100 miles. There's several views to choose from, but the route map and the info screen usually suits me best. Right then, 2-4 right, lined up, let's get on our way. For around 9 hours and 45 minutes tonight, cruising initially at 37 and then up to 39,000 feet. With fewer airspace restrictions for the Chinese Airlines, we'll take the Great Circle route, which as you can see means we'll never truly enter total darkness in tonight's flight. We'll land mid-afternoon into Beijing. Now's that time to double check that you're subscribed. I want to make sure that you'll all see the next leg on this trip to Seoul Gimpo, where I'll let you know all about that connecting experience, the visas, and just what China Southern's A321neo is like to fly on. The crew remained seated until 20 minutes or so after takeoff. Once we hit the cruise I think, but within half an hour we had the drinks, a water and a red wine. Soft drinks were available too. Shortly after that, dinner was served. Pork and rice, and fish and potato was the other option. There's a prawn salad, bread roll and a cake. A pretty comprehensive economy meal. Wooden cutlery though, which I'm not a fan of, but better than the plastic ones I suppose. A closer look at the main, small but tasty with a bit of a kick to it. The salad certainly is not to everyone's taste, but it does cater to the market. The cheesecake is a good slab, but beware, it has a plastic wrapper on that and I missed it, so ended up making a bit of a mess. More than slept for the whole flight, so missed out on this meal and the next. But the crew popped a sticker on the IFE, offering to bring food at a later time. It was a nice touch, I thought. Before I settle in for the night, let's take a quick trip to the loo. Okay, so we've got a pretty big mirror, some lights. Not sure what's in the sink there. This is just after the meal service is finished, so everyone's going to be going to sleep soon. And this lav is in the middle of the plane. As well as the pillow, there's a warming blanket. Well, good morning. Around 2.5 hours before landing and the cabin starts to wake up, helped by these mood lights. And impressively for economy, a warm towel for every passenger, which I really needed, can you tell? Seats also now had to be put upright, which is cool for food and eating I guess, but with 2.5 hours to go, that's quite a long time to sit upright before landing. The second meal was another substantial one, and China Southern really got this right. I went for beef noodles, again a solid main, but you also get a croissant, fruit and yoghurt. It's a really good mix of cold and hot options, and the sort of food that really helps you adjust to the time zone change. A quick look at the in-flight entertainment, and as mentioned, the screen is a good resolution and is really responsive. There's a fair selection of games, music, TV shows and movies to cater for all cultures. I wouldn't say that the content excels, but there's certainly enough there to keep you occupied for the flight. USB-A charging is also here, and the headphones are over ear, but they ain't that comfortable. We had a Pride light show, and then everything was completed an hour or so outside of Beijing, with the crew seated and the seatbelt signs on. If you've flown on a Chinese carrier before, is this common practice? I had a similar experience on the next flight too.
To take care of your electric devices, especially during landing.
It felt like a really long approach into Daxing, perhaps because the seatbelt signs came on a lot earlier than what I'm used to, and the cloud prevented us from seeing much below. So what did I think of China Southern, and would I fly them again? Well, I'll be honest, I was apprehensive about flying a Chinese carrier, unsure what to expect, and I've heard mixed things online. However, I wouldn't hesitate to fly them again. They were pretty punctual, a comfy seat, good amenities, and a really comprehensive meal choice. Sure, they have their quirks, from the patrolling security guard to the rigid times that crew seem to be seated, but I'd recommend them to you when flying into East Asia. What did we pay then? Well, for a one-way ticket to Seoul via Beijing, we paid £306 each, booking around 3 months in advance, and that's in school holidays. A return could be had for around £500 on China Southern, and a direct flight to Seoul for comparison is £600 to £800 each for the dates that we were looking at going. Seat selection and our checked-in bags all came included within the fare. Beijing Daxing Airport is truly massive. Taxi took us what felt like an age before we finally pulled on stand. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this alternative flight to the east. Next up, we'll be taking the A321neo on the next leg of this trip to Seoul Gimpo. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.